Hi, this is Kris and Hannah with Ever New. This is our final test. Ever New is about living out loud, forging lasting connections, and visiting with effervescent thinkers and dreamers. It's an uplifting hour that promises to leave everyone feeling better. So, who's up for some fun? Welcome. Let's get this party started. Hi,
I'm
Hannah.
up for some fun. Hi,
Yeah,
Kris.
I am too. I am too. I've had some. I've had a couple of very busy days. The weather's been really good here. Really good. By really good, I mean it's been 51 degrees and it hasn't rained for an hour at a
I
time.
hate you.
So I hit the trail
I
every time I
envy
go
you and
out.
your weather.
Yeah, the minute the sun comes out, I look up in the sky to see where the clouds are, and if they're all heading in the right direction, and I think I can get through with a trip, then I go outside and I walk, and I managed to overdo it the last 2 days. Today I walked 20,000 steps, and yesterday I walked 20,000 steps. Up before that, I was walking 10,000 in the house, which is really boring, really boring because I can only go about 30 steps in one direction before I have to turn around. But I put on my CD that plays Ever New and other songs, and I just walk around. But when it's outside, of course, I walk by the geese, I walk by the birds, I watch, what's happening out, and it's really a lot of fun to walk. So I just kept doing it. I thought, well, I did 10,000 steps, and then I came home and I did another extra 2,000. I said, well, I might as well go 15,000 steps, and I went out my other two. First, I went the 4 mile, then I went the 2 mile. I thought, gee, there's only another 5,000 steps. Why don't I just keep walking? So both days I did that, and like when I got back, it was like, okay, that was enough. That was enough for today. And then Fitbit just told me I won the Penguin March. The Penguin March is, if you've ever seen the March of Penguins, they have a 70-mile trip to their mating grounds every year, 70 miles. And apparently I have walked 70 miles in the last 10 days because they told me I had.
Congratulations.
The penguin, thank you. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm feeling very buff. We have some eyes on us already. Over
Yay.
on my Facebook page and NDB Media. I don't know who these people are, but if you will please identify who you are. Yes, the person who was on mine, I hope, is coming over to NDB Media. And if you'll let me know who you are and where you're from, we would love to get to know you. Hannah and I have been chatting it up the last half hour or so, and we got some topics that we were willing to introduce. So here we go. We got some more eyes back on my Facebook page. If you're on my Facebook page, please come to the NDB Media Little Earl. I will also put it up here. Where is it? There it is. Come to this one, because if you're on my Facebook page and you come to this one instead, you'll be able to interact live and comment, and we can put your comments up. I will see you immediately and be able to comment. So that will be major. Please do that. I don't know. Oh, and Lisa is joining us. Hold on, I'm going to get Lisa in here. Lisa, how are you doing?
Oh my gosh, I'm way over.
What's happening? Okay. This is Lisa. She is my power partner. We met, 8 years ago? Maybe longer now.
Yeah, almost 10.
Yeah. She was looking for a copywriter at the time. Lisa, this is Hannah. I guess you've maybe seen Hannah on the show, but you haven't met her yet.
Hi, Hannah.
Hey, Lisa.
I'm going to do something here and see if we can get, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. So, and it turns out we're both goat lovers. We had a mutual friend, and Lisa wanted to come over and meet me, and she jumped in the truck with a lady who had 3 goats that she was bringing me. So Lisa spent the first weekend and realized she's a sister from another mister, she's like, if you could choose a sibling, this is the sibling you would choose. So we've been absolute best friends ever since. So she's joining us tonight. She's shy. So am I. Hannah's the only one here who is not shy. She comes from a showbiz family, so she's leading the charge here.
Awesome.
Lisa
I
is
am.
a web designer. Yes, you are. Lisa is a web designer, and I will put her URL up here. She does e-commerce sites in a day for people who need e-commerce sites. So that is how to reach her if you need to. Who's getting buzzed?
Me. Sorry.
Ah, that's okay. Her kitty's up in the corner, up on her bed. You know,
Yes.
up there. Yes. Yeah. So, we got some eyes. Did you come over from Facebook, Lisa?
Yes. I
Okay.
clicked the link that you dropped in my chat.
Okay. So nobody else has identified themselves. Here comes a comment. Let's see who's this. Roger's brother Luis is with us. Hi, Luis. I guess Roger's probably running interference over there in COVID country. I know he wasn't able to join us last. Roger's always laughing that his brother doesn't know how to spell his name. However, I think Roger's actual Spanish name is Rodiglio. So that's probably where that's where Luis gets the ROD going there. Hi. So,
Cookie Sword's back.
Cookie Sword. Yay, Cookie Sword. Thank you for being here. Okay, we are going to start giving a little bit of background on each of us, whatever anybody's interested in sharing at all. Hannah, I have discovered, told me, which came as a complete surprise to me, that she has autism spectrum disorder. And had she told me this, I would not even have known it. I've known people with autism before. And do you want to talk a little bit about it? Because I think there's a lot of questions and misconceptions about it that make people nervous around people who have autism spectrum disorder. Did you
Well,
want
if anyone wants to type a question in the comments, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Okay.
I've gotten different reactions. I even had a friend of the family who's known me my entire life. When he found out, he started getting really awkward and was like, well, I'm sure people with autism spectrum disorder can live successful lives.
Oh boy, howdy. Einstein had
Yeah,
autism.
hold on. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm the same person I've always been.
Yes. That's kind of like with trans too. It's like, oh, what do I do?
Yeah.
What do I do? Just treat me the way you always have. It's not a big deal.
And I don't know if suppose that a lot of people might think that people with autism are, like a little delayed, but a lot of people with autism are very intelligent.
Absolutely.
Such as Albert Einstein, Mozart,
right,
Darwin, Abraham Lincoln, even. All these people, have it or had or are suspected to have had it. Yeah.
Right.
People don't really get to see that.
Right.
But then there's also people on, who are incredibly intelligent, who they expect us to be, like Rain Man or Sheldon Cooper.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of us just aren't that.
Hi, Tammy. Yay, Tammy. Tammy got to us. She's up in Ontario, Canada. Tell me what you were telling me about the history about the Hitler experiments on. You said originally you were diagnosed as Asperger's, and that's got a pejorative syndrome because of the Hitler experiments.
Yeah, a lot of people in the autism community are finding the term Asperger's syndrome to be kind of offended because a little bit ago it was discovered that Hans Asperger was a Nazi. And his job was to take the autistic community and divide them into 2 categories: those who were worthy to live and those who were not. The higher functioning, he put those who are worthy of life and dubbed them as having Asperger's syndrome. And the thinking behind that, why people get really upset, is because to have something named after you, that's supposed to be a huge honor, when in reality, he does not deserve any kind of honor.
Right.
So some people call it autism spectrum disorder. Other people call it Asperger's,
Who don't know. Yeah.
And it's horrible what he did,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, we've got lots of eyes. Let me see where everybody's coming from. We have 2 people on my Facebook page, 2 people on two people on 2 different NDB media pages. I presume one of them is Roger. I mean, not Roger, Ross Trowbridge, but he hasn't identified himself. Who are you? Please come on in via the Twitch channel. I will again put that one up here. Oh, not that one. Sorry, this one. Because that way you can interact with us live. I can see your comments. I can put them up on the screen. So that's the way to get here. Lisa, do you want to introduce your kitty who is ignoring us totally?
That's Harmony.
Uh-huh.
She's my little chunk.
I love her.
She's adorable.
Harmony.
She's there now. She says, okay, she's not calling anymore, so I will now look. Sometimes Lisa and I, when we're zooming or something, one of our cats will jump up and interrupt the whole thing. Charlie has done that twice during these tests here, but at the moment she's not doing that. So I'm not getting any comments, so we're just kind of hanging here, hoping someone will come in and say something. Tammy, talk to us. Come tell us more about yourself. What's your weather like up in Alberta? Ours has been pretty decent here. Obviously, I was able to walk 20,000 steps both days, yesterday and today. So, in between rain clouds, I just had to look out the door and see which direction the clouds were blowing and say, okay, I can do it now. And off I went. So, anywho, I went into my Quora page because I know there's probably times on this podcast where people aren't interacting like is happening right now. We got lots of eyes. I think people are shy today. I think people are shy tonight. Boy, Ross has burros and wild horses and a Chincoteague pony that he keeps telling us about, plus other animals on his farm, on his ranch in Utah, and he's been telling us that we would see photos of them. So we're all just like hanging on the edges of our seats because we're all animal lovers here. But I don't think I know he had a deadline happening tonight too. So that's probably why Tammy says, sorry, my phone has been blowing up and been going back and forth. Weather is cold, but no snow, thankfully. All right. Yeah. No snow here yet. And Hannah, did your snow go away?
Yes, it did.
Hannah is in New Jersey, in southern New Jersey.
That accent's up north.
Did you guys see this week? There was an article about a serval cat that was found, I think, in Michigan, in one of the upper states, where this serval cat was found out running around. Obviously, it had been somebody's pet at one point, and either it was released or it got lost. And this one of the animal welfare agencies picked it up and brought it in and checked it out, and it was underweight and stuff, but they took care of it and they found a home for it. But unfortunately, what they did during this thing was they went into this big spiel about how dangerous servals are. And I'm like, hello, guys, hello. No, servals. I don't advocate the keeping of wild, exotic pets, across the board, because you better be willing to turn over your life to this animal if you're going to live with it for 17 years, and don't be giving it up because it's going to get a bond with you. And if you get tired of it or scared of it, it's going to go to a sanctuary where for the rest of its life, it's going to be looking for you. So I don't advocate the keeping of exotic pets unless you're willing to really turn your life over to it. But they did such a rotten job of talking about servals, and they made them sound like they were the scourges of the earth, and they were terribly, terribly dangerous. And I had to respond because I know with the history of servals in Africa, the native tribes for eons have tamed adult wild servals and cheetahs, even not just kittens and raising them up, but you can tame a wild cheetah and a wild serval. They are like the Perry Como of the cat family. And it just really ticked me off that they painted this cat with a broad brush, even though they said, oh, we really miss him now that he's gone. Well, then you need to stop. You need to stop bad mouthing. Don't assume every wild animal that somebody has is going to take your face off, And I wrote
does this boy look dangerous?
Pardon?
If you can see it at all?
Is what?
Does this boy look dangerous? If you can see it, hold on.
I can't see it.
Let me try this.
Pull it back just a little bit. Pull it back just a little bit toward you. Yeah, that's a serval. Yes.
Can't see.
Does he look dangerous?
My serval? No, my serval bit.
That's Deacon.
That's Deacon. Yes, my serval bit somebody 3 times. All 3 times, totally understandable. One time, I was at a vet hospital and we were giving him a shot. I think it was vitamin B12, and it stung like crazy. And the vet said, hold on to him really, really tight. I'm going to give him this shot and it's going to sting. Well, I had him between. A serval is about the size of an average sized Doberman Pinscher. Okay. So I had him held between my legs, almost like in a squeeze cage. I had my hands holding his head, and behind me was his tail end where the vet was going to give him a shot. And so he said, now hold him tight. And I said, okay, but it's my serval, it's my baby boy. And I didn't want to hold him so tight that he would be scared.
I feel like holding an animal down is asking for a problem.
Right. And I was holding him, but not all that tightly. And when he gave him the shot, Deacon pulled his head out and he reached around to bite the shot, but my leg was in the way. And he bit my leg. And it was like, as soon as he did it, he was so sorry. He laid down on the ground and put his head down like, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. He was so
He's like, I'm sorry, Dad.
He had bit me, The other time my mom stepped
Did it
on.
break the skin or anything?
It did. Yeah. But the thing is, it's like a surgical incision when a cat bites you. It's got they got really sharp teeth and it really didn't do much damage. I didn't even hardly feel it. It was more a surprise than anything else. And then another time, my mom walked into our garage where Deacon was asleep, and she stepped on him, and he bit her. And then the third time, Deacon had swallowed as a little teenager serval. He had swallowed a rubber ball. He had chewed apart one of the toy balls I gave him and ingested it, and he started to get a tummy ache. He ended up having to have surgery. Started to get a tummy ache, and I knew that morning he wasn't eating. I was going to work, and I said, Mom, try to feed him at lunch, and if he doesn't eat again, I need to take him to the vet. So she walked in, and she put the hamburger down by the door, and he knelt down at like, I'd really like to eat, but I don't feel like eating it. And so then she went to leave, and because she was approaching his food as she headed for the door, he jumped up and didn't bite her bad. He basically just scared her off, But it was like, okay, well, see, all of those are totally understandable things. Yes, you can get hurt. You can get hurt by your domestic kitty if it's mad or hurt or whatever. I'm not saying you can't get hurt by them, but it's not like this cat was out looking for people to eat. his whole life. He just had things happen to him that he said, no, don't do that. That's not good. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, one of the things that brought up, the reason I bring that up is because when I wrote the pericomo thing that servals and cheetahs are like the pericomo of the animal, they said, I don't know, I don't get that. I guess because they were younger, didn't know who pericomo was. Pericomo was this laid back, super laid back guy. And AC Lyles, the producer at Paramount, who was a dear friend of DeForest Kelley, at Dee's Star Ceremony reception at Paramount afterwards, AC mentioned that he thought pericomo was about as laid back as a person could be without falling into a coma. But after meeting Dee, Perry said, comparing the two, Dee and pericomo was like Robin Williams. So that's how much more laid back Dee was than pericomo. And I thought that was hysterical because it's true. He was so laid back. That's why he was so comfortable to be around. And that was a long story that led me back to a Dee story. So I thought I'll bring that up too. Okay. Now we got Luis Noriega. He's sending me a bunch of stuff. Let me see what he's got going on here. Over here in Anaheim, we're at 52 overcast, and I'm 2 miles away from Disneyland. But right now, I got passes for Knott's Berry Farm that I've been going at least twice a week. Oh, my God. I haven't been to Knott's Berry Farm in 50 years. I bet it's way, way cooler now. Again, when I first moved to Orange County, I read the paper. We had a register saying that a family had a pet bobcat and the little boy and didn't know what else to do with it. So they donated it to the Santa Ana Zoo. So they couldn't release it to the wild because it was so dumb. Domesticated, it was domesticated. It wouldn't survive in the wild. Bobcats are very different from servals. Bobcats have their own mind, and when they grow up, they are not good pets. Ocelots are not good pets. Most wildcats are not good pets, but cheetahs and servals are the exception. And again, I don't advocate it because you think raising a child is hard. Just imagine, an animal that is going to rely on you for the rest of its life. If you can't take on that kind of responsibility, you shouldn't be doing that. And Luis also says, once in a while we hear in the news of exotic animals escaping here in Orange County. One time I heard about a golden lion monkey, a rare one. They found it at a McDonald's eating something. Someone had French fries. Wow. Yeah. Okay. And Tammy, yes. Your cat will butt you when she's irritated. I have a little boy kitty named Bobby. And he gets a little, because he's young, you start petting him, and all of a sudden he'll think, oh, this is fun. Now we're going to play Predator. And I have to say, no, we don't play Predator. Don't bite me. So he says, my cat is vicious when it comes to his food. No one can get me in a room. He does strike and try to bite if you try to take it away. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. You have to teach your kitties not to do that, because otherwise they are going to be really possessive of their food. Tippi Hedren had a lion. Tippi Hedren has a lot of exotic pets at her place called Shambhala. And one time she was wearing something called Youth Dew, which is a fragrance. And she walked in to this lion's den, this lion, enclosure. And the lion took possession of her. I mean, he would not let her go because of the scent on her. She had to sit there for 4 hours. When a lion says you are mine, you do not argue with the lion. You wait until the lion says, okay, I'm tired of you now, but that lion just said, no, you are sitting right here. And she sat there for 4 hours until he decided she could go. So yeah, the bigger the cat.
He just held her there?
He just wouldn't, I don't know if you've ever been around lions at all, but sometimes they'll take possession of like a tuft of grass. They'll just go, whoa, and you better not be anywhere near that tough to grass because he will go after you if you try to do it. And that's kind of what he didn't grab her, but he let her know very certainly that she was his and she was going to stay there until he was finished with her. Fortunately, he wasn't sexually attracted. That would have been a bad thing, but he was very, very, he wanted her there. And, that was scary, scary thing. Because you don't know if it's going to be 2 weeks before he decides you can leave. And there's not a whole heck of a lot you can do about that. Yeah. So the bigger the cat, the bigger the concern. And a lot of people will get these cute little, adorable little cougar, and pretty soon the cougar is really, really big and he's eating your couch and he's going after your cats. Anything that runs, cats will chase after. Whether they mean to hurt you or not, they can hurt you because they're predators and they're big. So, yeah, I don't advocate it, but I certainly don't advocate bad mouthing animals either because they are wonderful, wonderful creatures. Let me go back up in here and see what we got. We have 2 people on my Facebook page. I hope you'll come over to this NDB Media so we can interact and get some comments from you guys, because that's how this whole thing happens. I went into this is actually going to be for the Saturday thing when we actually debut. This is a test tonight, folks. I'm learning how to run the back end here and stuff like that. So, but I went into my Quora thing. I write a lot for Quora to find out questions people ask me that I've answered online that I could bring up here if people, if we run out of topics to talk about. So Tammy asks me, have you ever thought of getting another serval if you could? I try to avoid thinking about that because at age 70, servals live like, 16, 18, 20 years. I'd have to think about where would he go? Who would he know? I'm always thinking of my pets when I get a new pet. How would a transition work? And usually it's pretty hard of the very few people who knew my serval, Deacon was fond of maybe 2 or 3 of them. Most of them could not have taken him had something happened to me. So yeah, I have avoided even going to see baby servals. Chippy at one point said, well, we'll get you a serval. And I said, no, please don't get me a serval. Because I know if I saw one and I held one again and they said, you're going to have it, I would probably go, oh, yes. But I can't do that. Yes, I have thought of it. I have thought of it many, many times. Every time one gets, recaptured out of the, like just happened, I think, oh, I would love to call in and say, I will take him. Because he's already an adult, he won't probably outlive me, and I'd be okay with that, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's probably one of the most incredible experiences I ever had in my life, sharing my life with a creature like that. But I still have nightmares about him maybe getting out, or somebody trying to get him, or Fish and Game. I always pass the Fish and Game inspections like crazy, but I always have dreams still to this day of the fence having a hole in it and him being out. And oh my God, what if somebody sees him and shoots him? So it's a responsibility that you carry for the rest of your life, even after you no longer have the serval. So yeah, it's not. It's a temptation, but it's one I am avoiding. So. Tammy said, I enjoy reading your book about Deacon. Thank you very much. That book is Serval Son. I'll put the, I think I have a photo of it here. Well, is that one of the ones I don't have up here? Possibly. Here's another book I wrote, though. It's a book of poetry. Lisa did the cover for this, by the way. This is a book of poetry and prose and about interactions I've had with animals, tame and wild. So there's some funny stuff in it. There's some heart-rending stuff in it. Some of it will make you cry. So you probably don't want to get it if you don't like to cry. But it's got some good stuff in it. one of the teachers who said, I'm not usually a big fan of poetry books because most people don't know what they're doing, but she said, boy, your book, you know what you're doing when you write poetry. So this is the Serval Sun Spots and Stripes Forever. Lisa did the cover of this one too. And that's my baby boy. That's Deacon. And as you can see, he doesn't look like a ravishing beast. He was a delightful little creature. So, yeah. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you for that compliment. Oh, anytime I talk about animals, my heart just gets so full I shut up. But I love animals. We have
You're making me want my dog.
Yeah. Oh, did you want to show do you have your cutout of the dog that you got for Christmas that you lost a couple of years ago? Do you have that one?
Yeah.
Sadie? Is her name Sadie?
No, Sadie is the dog that I have now.
Oh, Sadie's the dog you have now.
The one I lost in 2017 was Dixie.
Ah. Oh, is it a pillow?
It is a pillow, yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is fabulous.
Cute.
We have some comments. Let's take a look here. Tammy says, I need that book. I guess she's talking about Let No Day Dawn. Tammy says, if I could, I would have a house full of kitties. Yes, I know all about that. I have one outdoor and two outdoor named Spock and Luna. I love it. At one of the animal sanctuaries where I worked or volunteered, there were two caracals. They have those little tufts on their ears, and they were named Spock and Uhura.
Yes.
So there are 3 people on my Facebook page. I hope you will come over to the NDB Media. I'll give you that link again so we can talk and get some comments coming in here. There's where, nope, that's not the right one. Never mind. There you go. That's the way to get in so that you can actually leave comments and we can see them right away and respond to them. So, Lisa or Hannah, do you have anything you want to share? A cool, always put like your finger up or your hand up if you can, if you have something you want to share, because I'm trying to fill empty airspace here. Apparently when you're on a podcast, you're not supposed to let anything go more than 5 seconds. And I'm like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, quick, come up with another topic. So, yeah. Somebody gave me a really, really cool link so that this can tell you where in the world, what time it is in the world. So if you hear, for example, Ever New is going to start, it's officially debuting this Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. You can look on this and find out where that is in your time if you go to this URL. And once it debuts on Saturday the 15th, it's going to not repeat. There's going to be a new podcast every other Saturday from then on, for as long as there's interest. So, and we're going to have various co-hosts. We might have 4, 5, 6 at a time. Just depends on who's interested and who has stuff to share. So it's always going to be uplifting. Oh, let me tell you a little bit about the segments. These are kind of tentative segment titles, but one of them is Joyride. And that is anything during the week, month, year, or in your lifetime that brought you an immense amount of joy. And one of the examples I gave was when I was walking, and I always walk by this house called I call it the Mother Goose house because there's like 30 geese in the yard there. And one day the USPS truck came by there at the same time I was approaching it, and the geese went nuts, absolutely nuts. And I thought, what's that all about? And of course, the UPS man had a bunch of corn for him and threw the corn out for him. And it was really, really cold. I was freezing. The minute that happened, I just warmed all up. I mean, from head to toe. And I gave him this thumbs up and I said, you just made my day. That is so great, because these geese had been way back by the house and they came flocking and honking, and it was like Christmas morning. They just couldn't wait to get to the front of the thing because here came Santa Claus, and it was just so heartwarming. And he said, a couple of weeks ago, I brought my nephew, and he didn't know I did this. And as we approached this place, these geese start coming up, and the little boy said to me, my nephew said to me, "Do you feed these ducks every time?" So, I mean, it was just one of those moments that you don't expect. And all of a sudden, it's something you think about over and over and over again. So that's what Joyride is kind of going to be about, because I want these podcasts to be uplifting, and I want you to be able to leave here feeling good about things. And it's hard, in the middle of a pandemic, it's so easy to get down in the dumps. And I just don't want that happening. I want us to be able to leave here feeling like we've had our spirits lifted. The other segment will probably be called Delights, because an awful lot of people come to me as a result of having read my books about DeForest Kelley, and they may have follow-up questions, comments, or anything like that. And so that's what that will be all about. And then there will be a segment called Ask Me Anything Within Reason. And I've had people on this show during these test things ask me about being trans, ask me about the pets in my life and stuff like that. Anything that that I know something about, or Hannah or Lisa or whoever's the co-host at the time. If you have questions about them, then this is the time to gather and ask those questions. So that's what Ask Me Anything, or I should call it Ask Us Anything. That's what that'll be about. And they won't necessarily be like 3-minute segments or 5-minute segments or 7-minute segments. They will last as long as there's interaction with the people who are watching. So I'm looking up again now, and we have lots of viewers. We have NDB. We have 3 at my Facebook page, which I hope you will come over. We have 2, 3, 4, 5. We have more than 5 from different ND media pages. Please identify yourself. Let us know who you are. I have 3 comments coming in. Let's see what we got. What is everyone's favorite Disney movie? Oh, my goodness gracious sakes alive. That would be tough. For mine, I guess it's it's a toss-up between the old Bambi, which made me cry like nobody's business, and I love the Frozen. I love the Frozen ones. I also love was it called Tangled, the Rapunzel story, or the Gal Power story. Hannah, do you have a favorite?
Lion King.
Oh, there you go. I didn't think about that. Lisa?
The Lion King, the new one.
Yeah, I love the new Lion King.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
So well done.
The illustrations are so real.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Over the summer, I volunteered for this little. Over the summer, I volunteered for this kids production of The Lion King. It was literally called Lion King Jr. Me, one of my sisters, and a guy, a different guy, Dylan. We were called the Tribal Trio, and basically we were singing all the African on stage because these kids were like 8. Yeah, you can't expect them to learn all these complex words. So we did that for a couple weeks. And it was fun. Yeah,
that's cool.
Someone almost fell off the stage, which is good time. So
I always love the stories of people, you think you've got it all figured out. We have a play, we know exactly what's going to happen, and then something awful happens, and you go, okay, well, we have to cover that. The audience doesn't need to know that, so let's fix that. I mean, I had a couple of shows where that happened.
It was one of us, one of the Tribal Trio. It wasn't me, but we had to go up some stairs to get onto the stage, and when it's pitch black, in the house where the seats are, and the stage is pitch black, and the stairs, that's asking for trouble.
Yes, absolutely. Cookie Sword says a friend of mine has 2 cats named Spot and Data, or Data. Is it Data or Data? Louise, Oh, this is Roger's brother again. Sorry I missed your last comments for the past 5 minutes. I was talking to my brother about our trip to Arizona. All right, talk to Roger and have him come see us for a minute. He's busy, I'm sure. He was my trainer. He's supposed to be teaching me tonight, but so see, I'm just.
Well, I guess he thinks you're ready.
I have no teachers. I have no teachers tonight. Okay. Okay, rescuers down under.
Teacher's always silent during the test.
Yep. This is a test. This is only a test. Had it been an actual thing, it would have been perfect. Wrong. There are no perfect folks here. Lion King was my favorite too. Do you all remember Lion King Timon and Pumbaa cartoon? Oh yes. Yes, they were so much.
Yeah, I think they had a show on Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Oh.
In the 90s.
Cookie Sword worked on a set in a school production of Lion King Jr. too. Awesome.
Nice.
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Yeah, they take a lot of Disney shows and even some Broadway shows and just adjust them a little bit so they can be for kids.
Uh-huh.
There's Annie Jr., Oklahoma Jr., Guys and Dolls Jr., a bunch of stuff.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, well, they do that thing. They do that at the Lakewood Playhouse here too. They have during the summer. They have courses for kids in acting, directing, and all kinds of stuff. So I haven't been to any of them. I need to go to some of them. Of course, it's been COVID country. We haven't been to a play. I think the last play we were there, we did an Edgar Allan Poe night with a guy who impersonates Edgar Allan Poe. And oh boy, that was really great. That was wonderful. Lisa and a couple of our friends, Kris and a couple of our friends went. Hazel, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kris and Hazel, yes.
We have photo, and your kitty's turning around and grooming. So.
Oh, is she?
Yeah. Okay. We're already 45 minutes into this. This is
Wow.
Time goes really, really fast when you're having fun.
It does.
There are 4 people on my Facebook page. I hope you will come over to Twitch, which is right there, so we can see your comments. I could bop over there to Facebook for a second. Do Hannah or Lisa have anything you want to talk about while I do that to see what's happening? Or not?
How's your week been, Lisa?
Seems like it's been really busy, but I'm not sure what I've done.
Oh, Ross Trowbridge just got home. Had a cat at the vet today. Oh, he just got home at 6:32. I don't know if he's going to join us or not, but that's what's going on over here on my Facebook page. Ross is our burro, wild horse, and Shinkating pony guy. And he just took a kitty to the vet. So, yeah. And I'm going to go back over here. I'm back on my Facebook page. I hope you don't get any blowback as a result of it. Gail says, how do I find my way to your podcast? I found my way by accident this time. If you find it, the URL you see on your screen right now is how to get there. Louise Ellison is saying good evening. And Nina, hi, in Texas, says always love a good D story, Kris. Yeah, I try to put one in here once in a while. Okay, or at least every episode. So that's what's happening on my Facebook page, but they haven't come over to leave comments otherwise. Got lots of eyes, so this is good. Because this is just a test. So Saturday morning, maybe we'll get a lot more eyes out here. That's awesome. I guess I'll put up some banners or some brands because I have to learn how to do this anyway. I will run you through my book covers. Book cover by Lisa. Should I do this, Mark?
You're very good at making book covers, Lisa.
Thank you.
Most book covers by Lisa.
Not all. So.
Not all.
Not that one.
Not that one. I love this one. That's
Really good. I like that one too.
That tells a story all just like, on the other one, I
did that.
Yes, that one. I want to now get rid of this banner so you can actually see the whole. There we go. Well, go bye-bye. There we go. Yeah, I'm learning the back end of this, and it's like, that is a pretty interesting book, because an awful lot of us stop ourselves thinking, like, if people knew whatever it was about me, that they would shun me or something, and I thought that about being trans for a long time. We have some things that we feel ashamed of, and the people who are out making things happen in the world are people who are, I won't call them shameless, but they don't let their shame stop them. And I don't think anybody should, because we all make mistakes. We all have, these little maybe skeletons in the closet, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be out, turning the world upside down with the things that you're passionate about, and the things that are going to be an uplift to the world. So that's basically coming to terms and getting rid of any sense of shame that would keep you from stepping out and being, claiming yourself. So I'm looking for more comments. Okay. Okay. This is the series of 6 books that Hannah is getting through right now. She's in volume 3 of that. And Lisa did the cover. Lisa did the cover of this. Lisa did not do the cover of this. I want to be sure to let you know the one she did not do, because she'd be afraid you would think she did. Okay, I think those are all the covers. I could be wrong, but I think those are all the covers.
I think so.
So, and Lisa took this picture of me when we were at a festival of some sort, and I really, really like it. I look very writerly there, don't I? Yeah. And here, one Lisa took of me up at the Ording, when during the summer we ride bikes like crazy. We're absolute idiots about it. We ride about 100 miles a week, and I thought I put this one up. If this one doesn't make you laugh, nothing will. We went to.
Are you okay?
Long friends of ours, and at Christmas time, and we were exchanging gifts, and Kathy gave us these cute little bags with fudge. And of course, I immediately did this fudge bag, for like a horse. Yes, this is my favorite, in the restaurant, and everybody's looking around going, "You can't take Kris anywhere."
I mean, fudge is a gift from God, so I cannot blame you.
I totally agree. My sister makes the best fudge in the world. Well, Kathy did a great job too that time. But my sister makes the best fudge every single year. Every single year we walk up to her with all of the ingredients and go, "Here you go, one for Christmas." Fudge every year. Oh, it's just so much fun. Oh, and here's another one. In my book, what book is that? Oh, shoot. Floating Around Hollywood.
Floating Around Hollywood.
My book, Floating Around Hollywood, and I'm sure I have the cover of it here somewhere. Anyhow, it's called Floating Around Hollywood. There's a chapter called They Call Me Walrus Woman. And that's because when I was working with Clyde Phillips, who did Knight Rider and some of those shows, I was working with him on a show called Eddie Dodd, and another show. There was another show too that he was doing concurrently. Parker Lewis Can't Lose. One was a drama, a pilot, and the other one was a comedy. And we were wrapping gifts at Christmas time, which is kind of like what a production assistants do when they have nothing better to do at Christmas time. We're wrapping all these gifts, and everybody was looking pretty sad and morose and kind of down in the dumps. And I thought, well, this is not right. It's Christmas time. And there were these 2 empty Christmas wrap gift tubes standing in the corner. So I stuck them into my mouth, like I recreated the picture here. I stuck them into my mouth and went, like I was a walrus, you know. And the production assistants and Clyde Phillips' secretary lost their minds. They thought that was the funniest thing. They wanted to give me my own comedy show right then and there. It was just like, they just lost it. And they said, when Clyde comes in, you have to do that for him. Now, I was temping there, and I didn't think that was necessarily a very good idea. They said, no, you have to do it. You have to do it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not something I normally would do, you know? And normally Clyde, when he came into the office, he was like, you know, the Steven Spielberg type. He would come in a ratty old shirt and holes in his jeans and stuff like that. But for some reason on this day, he came in dressed to the absolute nines, practically in a tuxedo, dressed like he was a businessman. And I thought, this is not the right time to do this thing, you know. And he came in looking terribly serious, and he sat down at his desk, and all of his predictions said, do it, you know. And I'm like, oh my God, you know. And I said, okay. So I walked up behind him, and I stick these tubes in my mouth, and I went up behind him, and I went, and he turned around, deadpan, looked at me, and he went, it must be the radiation from the computers. And just deadpan, and he got up and walked out. And I thought, oh my God, this is my last day. This is my last day at Clyde Phillips Productions. This was totally wrong. And I looked at the production assistants, and they looked kind of a little embarrassed, a little sorry about that. And they kind of, you know, flittered away. And I thought, oh my God, you know, and I just panicked. And I thought, I'm not going to have a job. I'm not going to have a job at the end of this day. I just know that. So it was a really long day, and it was about 7 at night. They finally said we could call. They called the set, and they said, you can go. And I was in an upper level on 2 flights of stairs going down, and I come walking down the flight of stairs, and then I turned the corner, and I started to go down the 2nd flight of stairs, and down at the bottom of the 2nd flight of stairs is Clyde Phillips, the guy who I had walrused. And I started down the thing, and he said, where do you think you're going? And I said, home, if that's okay with you. I said, no, that is not okay with me. And I went, oh my God, you know, and I got a little closer. I said, okay, well, how much longer do you want me to stay? And he goes, forever. Oh, and what I got for Christmas that year, he got me a rubber ducky, a walrus and a rubber ducky ring for my ornament for my Christmas tree, and an alarm clock, so I would never be late for work. Not that I was ever late for work, but that was his way of saying, you got it, you know, you got me. I just didn't want you to know you got me. So. Yeah, that was a happy ending to what I thought was going to be this horrible, horrible end of my career in Hollywood. So that's what that's all about. I recreated that for some silly reason. No comments coming in, but lots of eyes. And we have I have a love. We have a love. Thank you, Tammy. We got a love from Tammy Armstrong. So
thank you, Tammy.
That story is in my book, Floating Around Hollywood. And I don't have that here. I'll have to get that for next time. And it's called Floating Around Hollywood, and other totally true tales of triumph. And Lisa did not make the cover for it.
Yes, I did. That one.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yeah.
But it's one of my earlier attempts. Some of those are my early.
Yeah, she said she wanted to do another one, but we'll cross
for
that.
A couple of the books, yeah.
Yeah.
Updating them.
Especially the ones that she didn't do covers of. So, Anywho, now we got 2 loves.
Kris.
And thumbs up. Yes, Hannah.
I see a couple comments from Tammy that, correct me if I'm wrong, we did not go over.
Okay, let me take a look. How shy was DeForest? He was pretty shy. You could tell when he would get on stage, like at a convention, that the first couple minutes was kind of dicey for him. He would almost always read his poems first. That he wrote 3 poems about Star Trek called "The Dream Goes On," "The Dream Goes On and On," "The Dream Goes On and On and On," and he always did that to kind of break the ice. Because once people were listening to his poetry, which was really, really clever and fun, and he would get the laughter and he would get that going on before he had to really do much more than say hello. By that time, as soon as he had heard the laughter and felt the warmth of the audience, then he was pretty much okay. And he would give a couple of examples of his career, usually as a cowboy, strangely enough. He didn't talk about Star Trek an awful lot unless people asked, because he was a cowboy at heart. But then after he would give a couple of those little anecdotes, he would say, "Well, that's all I know. What do you want to know?" And he'd open up the entire, like I would say 30 minutes of his appearance to whatever the fans wanted to know, which was absolutely fabulous. Tammy, I agree, and I'm putting that right up there. Because
Amen.
the people who talked to him, the fans who interacted with him, would tell him some of the most absolute heart-rending stories. One gal who was about, I want to say 35 years old, she said, "You don't know me from Adam." He picked her out of the audience, and "Thank you for choosing me. You don't know me from Adam, but I had a really, horrendous upbringing." I'm paraphrasing. "I had a really horrendous upbringing, and I don't think I would have survived if I hadn't adopted you as my father, Dr. McCoy as my father, when I was a teenager. I just don't think I would have made it." So, and she tells this little bit of a story, and she asks him, "Can I give you a hug?" And he put his arms out and he said, "You certainly may, come to Papa." And there was not a dry eye. He meant it. There was not a dry eye in the house, And another time, a lady told him, "I don't know that much about your career. I really haven't followed your career that much, but I'm here today actually for another reason. But I happen to be in the auditorium and watching the way that you interact with your fans and how wonderful you are." She said, I just think you're just wonderful." I forgot exactly the exact words she said, but he just about teared up there. He said, "Well, thank you very much. I hope I can live up to that." And then he, of course, turned it around and he said, "How can you believe that with all those bad guys I played?" But that was the same way my mom and dad felt about him when they finally met him after all those years. It was like, my dad said, "I do not know how you are able to portray these depraved SOBs that you portrayed in the Westerns, because you don't look like you could act at all." I mean, he was just so mild-mannered and gentle and sweet and charming, and there was just nothing in his personality that would lead you to believe that he could do that. In fact, a couple of times when he went in, like to Steve McQueen, to see if he could get a part, Steve would say, "No, you're not who I'm looking for." And G had to literally grab the guy by the shirt and pull him and say, "I think I am." And then Steve would go, "Oh, yeah, okay. Because G did not come off as a killer. He was asked once how he did that. And he said, "When I was a young boy growing up in Georgia, there was a Georgia sheriff who looked like a snake. And he looked like he could not wait for you to step out of line so he could shoot you." And he says, "I try to channel that guy as much as I can when I'm doing the really bad stuff." And another thing he told me about being in Westerns and bad guys, he says, "You have to remember, bad guys don't know they're bad guys. They have in their mind that they are a hero to somebody, you know. And some of Dee's badass cowboys really come across as kind of charming in a way. Not Toby Jack Saunders by any stretch of the imagination in Apache Uprising, but in Warlock and stuff like that, he's kind of this personable guy who kind of fell in with the wrong cloud, you know. And at the end of the movie, he actually becomes one of the heroes because he realizes this crowd I fell in with is absolutely depraved and I don't want any part of this anymore. And he actually ends up helping the sheriff. Luis mentions seeing Dee in Bonanza. One of those shows of Bonanza was called The Decision, where he plays a doctor, of course, but he's a doctor accused of murdering someone. He did not murder somebody. He was shot in self-defense, but the prosecutor was ticked at him because his wife had been one of Dee's patients and had died on the operating table, and he had always blamed him for her death, even though she was so far gone by the time she got onto nobody could have saved her. And he has been condemned to death, and he's about ready to hang. And at the beginning of this Bonanza show, a horse falls on Ben Cartwright, and Ben goes in to find a doctor and finds out the doctor is in jail, about ready to be hung, you know, within the day or so. And he goes in and he tries to negotiate with Dee. And at first, Dee looks like a real snake. He says, look, you know, if you want me to take care of your son, you're going to have to pay for it. And Ben Cartwright says, I never expected anything else. What do you want? He said, I want $10,000. Back in that day, that's a lot of money.
Not
still
so
a
much
lot of
now.
money to me. And he said, okay, come help my son, come help my son. Well, through the course of this movie, you find out that Dee is actually covering for his wife who had committed a crime. And if she had gone back to this place in back east where she would have held trial, she had a lung condition and it was a coal town and she would have died. And he thought, I will take the rap. The reason he had scuffled with the guy and killed him was it was a reporter, and he was about to publish the fact that she had been accused and was going to be taken back for trial. And he didn't want that to happen. And he scuffled with him, and in the scuffle, the gun went off and killed the guy. So anyhow, through the course of this thing, you find out he is allowing himself to go to the gallows to protect his wife. And you learn, and he said it was a bit of an experiment when he did it. He told me it was a bit of an experiment. One of those times in your life as an actor where you get to experiment, to go from I want to be a snake at first and to be likable at the end. And I think he did an absolute great job of it.
Excuse me, Kris.
Yes.
I don't know if you know, but the walrus picture is still up.
Oh, okay. I'll take the walrus picture now. The Decision is so good. Yes. Okay. If I can figure out how to take the thing down, I will do that. It's down here somewhere. I found it. There it is. Boom. So let's find some Dee as a cowboy here. Do I have some Dee as a cowboy? Of course I don't. You do. Nope. I just have Dee as my friend on these pictures. I don't have any Dee as a cowboy. But there's him in his cowboy outfit. No, those are boots that a fan got him. And he loved them. I don't think he was ever out of them. Golden Spikes, I was trying to figure out if those were breadsticks or wrapping paper rolls. Those are wrapping paper rolls. Yes, you missed the story, but you can hear it later when this thing gets wrapped up. I think within minutes you can watch it again. Yeah. How did Dee get along? Okay, here. One thing I have a problem with is, there we go. How did Dee get along with Leonard Nimoy over those two play acting in Star Trek? That kind of thing kind of happened by accident. D wasn't originally supposed to be one of the featured players, one of the top 3 stars of Star Trek. He was supposed to be kind of listed as a featured player with the rest of the cast. And the writers had written a little something between Spock and McCoy, and D, being a comedian, an excellent comedian, in addition to being a great dramatic actor, he had tweaked the lines to where they had a little bit of a skirmish. As you know, they became very good at skirmishing later on. And the fan reaction was so incredible that they went, more of that. And they told the writers to write more of that. And it became such an integral part of their interactions that by the second season, they were featuring D as one of the big, in quotes, one of the big 3 of Star Trek. And both Shatner and Nimoy had said, you need to put D up as a equal billing with us, because that role is integral to the chemistry that happens here on Star Trek. So he got along very, very well with Leonard Nimoy, and with Shatner. He said with Shatner, D never badmouthed anybody ever. But one time on stage, somebody said, "How do you get along with Shatner?" And he said, I love Bill." He said, "I've had to straighten his ass out a time or two, but I love him." So, yeah. Okay.
I met Shatner, and he seemed pretty nice. He was nice to me.
Good. Yeah.
It was at a convention. I want to say 19 at the time, and I went up, and I was so nervous that I literally just leaned into the mic, and you know what came out of my mouth?
No.
I didn't have trouble with words, but I had trouble with my voice. I literally just went,
I get it.
and I gave him this picture that I had made on my laptop. I was teaching myself how to do some photo editing, and I had spent 9 hours on this Star Trek edit, and he really liked it. My mom who came with me, she got a picture of the moment when he opened it and was looking at it, and he was just smiling. He turned to the audience, showed it off. And at these conventions they have cameras, and like a little I don't know, I can't remember what they're called, but the camera like zooms in on the actual thing that I made, and it shows up on the 2 screens. That's what they're called. I'm not smart tonight. Screens. And I was just, I had to be peeled down from the ceiling.
Oh, absolutely.
For about 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
And I remember the next morning I woke up and I went upstairs and I just looked at my mom and I asked her, that thing with William Shatner, did that happen?
Yes.
Did that actually happen?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So people are all like, he's so mean, and I'm like, he wasn't mean to me.
He is an absolute quintessential showman. When you see him on the stage, oh my gosh, that is a masterful showman. He's great. He is absolutely great. Yep.
He's very talented.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Did you see him in Better Late Than Never?
I did not.
It was really good. Are you familiar with it? Like, have you heard of it?
I hadn't even heard of it. No.
Okay, so you can watch it, I believe, on demand and on NBC.com. Basically, William Shatner, Henry Winkler, Terry Bradshaw, and George Foreman went to different countries, and it's all about how they're responding to the culture shock, and they're doing a bunch of things that they probably would not have done otherwise. It's really funny.
So
So,
is
like,
it
you
a
got
movie?
Captain Kirk and the Fonz. You can't go wrong.
Uh-huh. Is it a movie?
No, it was a TV show. It only lasted 2 seasons, unfortunately. The first season, they're going throughout Asia. And the second season, it's going all throughout Europe.
Oh. Yeah, I hadn't heard of that at all.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay. Oh, here comes a comment. Over here in Anaheim, we're at 52 overcast. I'm 2 miles. Oh, wait, that's an old one. Where's the new one? I saw a comment come in here. Oh, let's scroll down here. Golden Spike says, I love their chemistry in the Tholian web. Yes. Yep. The episode the Tholian.
Is that the one where they think Kirk dies, but
Yes.
he appears to
Yes.
a few people?
Yep. Cookie Sword, I think his best performance is his Medicare commercial. I don't remember a Medicare commercial. Oh, you mean Shatner's. I know G did one for Trivial Pursuit. Something
Yes.
like, what are the two chambers of the heart? And he comes on in his scrubs and goes, how should I know? I'm an actor, not a doctor.
I feel like he had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think we have no more comments coming in. We've been an hour and 15 minutes. That's a pretty good run for a final test. I want to thank everybody for, huh?
I think that's the longest we've gone.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Well, it really, the length of these broadcasts or podcasts are going to go as long as people are interested. And when the questions start coming, then we just stop. So that's how we're going to run it. Again, the actual official debut of Ever New is this coming Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, and it will occur every other Saturday thereafter at the same time, 10:30 a.m. So, and it'll go at least an hour and maybe longer. I think on the weekends we'll probably get a bigger turnout too, and as more people find out about it too. So thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Hannah, for being here. I know Lisa's going to be working on Saturdays, so she won't be able to. But we'll keep still putting your URL up here in case people need a website. And of course, whenever I bring up one of your books, I will let them know you are the creative person behind that. So, Hannah, thank you. I can certainly tell you come from this family. You know how to do this, and you feel very, very comfortable. So, doing it. You seem very, very comfortable.
It was nice meeting you, Hannah.
It was nice meeting you too, Lisa.
Okay, guys, thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Golden Spike. Golden Spike is actually, you know who Golden Spike is Ross Trowbridge, guys. And he just mentioned Harmony with a cat sleeping behind her.
Yes.
I love her so much.
My chunk.
Oh, and one more thing I didn't put up from Russ. I'd love to see what John Straczynski would do with a Star Trek story. And I don't know who that is. And that shows what I know about showbiz at this point in my life. Tammy, thank you. Luis, thank you. Everybody, Cookie Sword, everybody who came on tonight to watch us test in our final chess program. This was absolutely fun. So thank you so much. Lisa and Hannah, if you want to hang for a minute after I end the broadcast, and then we'll chat. And for now, I'll say goodbye to everybody else. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.